Hi, besties. This is African Tales by Chinua, breathing life into African tales.
Nina stared at the strange substance her mother had placed in her hands. Mum, what are you asking me to do? Rebecca lowered her voice. Put this in your husband's food. Once Chief Omego is gone, everything he owns becomes yours. Nina jumped to her feet. Mother, you want me to kill my husband? What Nina didn't know was that before that day ended, death would indeed come. But not for the person anyone expected. And somehow, the 63-year-old man she never wanted to marry would become the one man she couldn't imagine living without. So, how did it all begin? At just 22, Nina was the kind of young woman people couldn't help but notice. She was stunningly beautiful, graceful, intelligent, and admired by almost every man who crossed her path. But beyond her beauty was a determined young graduate with a degree in microbiology and one frustrating reality. She couldn't find a job. Each passing day made her dreams seem farther away, despite all the years she had spent working hard to earn her degree. Standing firmly behind her was her mother, Rebecca, a 43-year-old widow whose strength was nothing short of remarkable. 10 years earlier, she had lost her husband, leaving her to raise Nina alone. Through countless sacrifices, long days of hard work, and unwavering faith, Rebecca ensured that her daughter received the best education she could afford. To her, every struggle had been worth it. Rebecca often looked at Nina with the kind of smile only a mother could wear. "My precious Nina," she would say, "you are all I have. I cannot wait for the day an Odogwu comes into your life and changes our story." Nina would smile and gently shake her head. "Mother, you know I already have Cheeky." Rebecca sighed. "Which cheek?" "The young man who is still struggling to find his own path. My daughter, love alone, cannot build a home." Nina reached for her mother's hand. "Please don't say that, Mum. Chike is hard-working, honest, and determined. I believe God has a wonderful future prepared for him. One day, all his efforts will be rewarded." Rebecca smiled softly, unconvinced. "I will never sit back and watch you get married only to start struggling with a man, not while I am alive." The following Sunday afternoon, after an uplifting church service, mother and daughter began walking home, with their Bibles tucked beneath their arms. The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly, and the roadside offered little shade. "We should have waited for a tricycle," Nina said, wiping the sweat from her forehead. Rebecca smiled. "We have survived much harder days than this." Just then, the sound of expensive engines filled the air. A gleaming black Mercedes-Benz came to a gentle stop beside them. Behind it were 3 other luxury SUVs, moving in perfect formation. Curious pedestrians slowed down, wondering who could command such an impressive convoy. The rear door of the Mercedes opened. An elegant man in his early 60s stepped out, dressed in an immaculate white traditional outfit with a gold walking stick resting comfortably in his hand. His presence alone commanded respect. He smiled warmly at Nina. "My young lady," he said in a calm voice, "why is someone as beautiful as you standing under this scorching sun? Please allow my driver to take you and your mother wherever you are going." Nina smiled politely. "Thank you very much, sir, but we'll be fine." The man nodded, as though he had expected that answer. "What is your name?" Nina hesitated, unsure whether to respond. Before she could speak, Rebecca answered proudly. "Her name is Nina, sir." Nina turned sharply toward her mother, her expression saying everything words could not. Chief Omego noticed the exchange, but only smiled. "Nina, he repeated thoughtfully. A beautiful name. Then he reached into the pocket of his flowing attire. May I have your phone number? I would like to speak with you again. Nina opened her mouth to decline, but Rebecca had already taken out her phone. Please take mine instead, Chief. She is a little shy. I will speak to her on your behalf. Nina gently tapped her mother's arm. Mum. Rebecca ignored her completely. Mum, Nina whispered again, this time a little more firmly. But Rebecca continued smiling as she exchanged numbers with the wealthy stranger. Chief Omego watched the scene with quiet amusement, the smile on his face growing wider, almost like a man who had already found exactly what he had been looking for. Before returning to his car, he pulled out several neatly wrapped bundles of money and stretched them toward Nina. For your time, he said softly. Nina immediately stepped back. I'm sorry, sir. I cannot accept this. Without wasting a second, Rebecca reached forward and accepted the money herself. Thank you, Chief, she said gratefully. May God continue to bless and enlarge you. Chief Omego chuckled, his eyes never leaving Nina. I have a feeling, he said, as he stepped back into his Mercedes, that this will not be our last meeting. As Chief Omego's convoy disappeared down the road, Nina stood frozen, unable to believe what had just happened. She turned to her mother, her face filled with disappointment. Mum, why would you do that? Why did you give him your number? Why did you collect the money when I clearly refused it? Rebecca barely heard a word. Her eyes were fixed on the thick bundles of cash in her hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. She counted excitedly before gasping. Nina, this is 800,000 naira. She looked at her daughter with wide eyes. Tell me honestly, has your Chike ever given you this kind of money? Have you ever held this amount in your hands before? Look at the kind and generous man God has brought into our lives, and you wanted to chase him away because you keep saying, I love Cheek. Nina sighed. Mum, this isn't about money. It is about our future, Rebecca replied firmly. I have suffered enough. If God has finally remembered us, I refuse to send his blessing away. Just then, a tricycle pulled over, and they climbed in. Throughout the journey home, Nina remained silent, staring out of the window. Rebecca nudged the bundles of cash toward her with a smile. Take it. I don't want it. Rebecca laughed, tucked the money into her handbag, and shook her head. Well, I certainly do. I did not come into this world to suffer forever. That night, after dinner, the little house was unusually quiet. Nina sat on her bed, absent-mindedly scrolling through her phone. She knew the silence would not last. Ever since they met Chief Omego, her mother had spoken of little else. A soft knock came at the door. Nina, may I come in? She looked up and nodded. Rebecca walked in slowly and sat beside her daughter. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. Finally, Rebecca broke the silence. My child, I want you to think carefully about what I am about to say. Please just give Chief Omego a chance. Nina lowered her phone. Mum, we have already talked about this. No, you have talked, Rebecca replied gently. Tonight I need you to listen. She reached for Nina's hand. Do you remember how your father died? You were only 12. Since then I have carried every burden alone. I worked until my hands became rough. I denied myself new clothes so you could stay in school. There were nights I went to bed hungry, just to make sure you had enough to eat. I did everything within my power to give you a good education and a comfortable life. Rebecca's voice trembled, and by the grace of God, I succeeded. Nina squeezed her mother's hand. I know, Mum. I will never stop being grateful. Then this is your chance to repay me." Nina's heart sank. "Mum, just hear me out," Rebecca continued. "A man like Chief Omego does not appear every day. He is kind, respectful, wealthy, and clearly interested in you. Why throw away an opportunity that could change both our lives forever?" Nina slowly shook her head. "Because I do not love him. You can learn to. He is old enough to be my father." Rebecca sighed. "Age is only a number. Besides, do we even know his real age? People are too concerned about numbers. What matters is the kind of life he can give you." She looked around their modest room. "Do you not dream of living comfortably, of never worrying about rent, food, or bills again? Don't you want a life of peace and luxury?" Nina looked into her mother's eyes. "Mum, life is not just about money. I cannot marry a man simply because he is rich. I want to marry someone I truly love." Rebecca smiled sadly. "My daughter, love is not what keeps a marriage together. It matters to me." "No," Rebecca replied firmly. "Respect, understanding, and commitment build a home. Love grows after marriage. When there is enough money, life becomes much easier." Nina remained silent. "I cannot do it," she whispered. "I love Cheek, and I cannot imagine spending the rest of my life with another man." The room fell silent. Rebecca slowly stood to her feet. The gentleness in her voice disappeared. "Then listen to me carefully, Nina." Her eyes hardened. "As long as I am alive, you will never marry Cheek." Nina stared at her in disbelief. "It'll be Chief Omego." She paused, allowing every word to sink in. "Or no one." Without waiting for a response, Rebecca turned, flung the door open, and walked out, leaving Nina sitting alone in stunned silence, tears gathering in her eyes as the weight of her mother's words settled heavily on her heart. The next morning, Rebecca's phone rang. She checked the screen and quickly answered. "Good morning, Madam Rebecca. This is Chief Omego." Her face brightened immediately. "Good morning, Chief. I would like to visit you today. Please send me your address." Rebecca did not hesitate. About an hour later, Chief Omego arrived in his usual convoy. His cars drew attention immediately, and neighbors quietly watched as several expensive gift boxes, food hampers, and neatly wrapped packages were carried into Rebecca's house. "Chief, all these?" Rebecca asked, visibly impressed. "They are for Nina," he replied with a smile. Rebecca welcomed him inside. After they settled down, Chief Omego looked around. "Where is Nina?" "She stepped out," Rebecca replied. "She should be back later." They continued talking, and Rebecca soon asked the question she had been curious about. "Chief, if you don't mind me asking, what exactly do you do for a living?" He smiled confidently. "I am a politician and also a businessman. I have major investments in oil and gas." Rebecca nodded, listening closely. "By God's grace," Chief Omego continued, "I have built enough wealth to last me for the rest of my life and beyond. Money is not something I worry about." That statement caught Rebecca's full attention. Chief Omego then leaned forward slightly. "How old is Nina?" "She is only 22, Rebecca replied proudly, "but she is very intelligent, mature, and well-educated." Rebecca hesitated before asking, "And you, Chief? How old are you?" "I am 63. For a moment, Rebecca was taken aback. 63? Chief Omego nodded calmly. Rebecca quickly recovered and smiled. "Well, age is just a number. What matters is whether a man knows how to treat a woman properly." Chief Omego seemed pleased with her response. "If Nina agrees to marry me, she will never suffer," he said. "I will take care of her, and I will take care of you too. I am ready to do whatever it takes. Rebecca smiled broadly. Leave Nina to me. I am her mother. I know how to talk to her. She will come around. Before leaving, Chief Omego reached into his pocket and handed Rebecca a thick envelope. She opened it and froze. 1.5 million naira. Consider it a small token, he said. Rebecca could barely contain her excitement. Thank you, Chief. May God bless you. After his convoy drove away, Rebecca shut the door, held the money tightly, and began dancing around the living room. Thank you, God, she whispered joyfully. You have finally remembered me. At that very moment, Nina was sitting quietly in Chike's small apartment. Usually she filled the room with laughter, but that day she barely spoke. She stared absent-mindedly at the glass of juice in her hands, her mind clearly somewhere else. Chike noticed immediately. He moved closer and gently held her hand. Nina, what's wrong? You've been quiet ever since you arrived. She took a deep breath before looking into his eyes. It's my mum. Chike frowned. What happened? Slowly Nina told him everything, from meeting Chief Omego after church to the gifts, the money, and her mother's determination to see her marry the wealthy businessman. By the time she finished, tears had gathered in her eyes. Chike lowered his head in silence. So is it because I don't have money? He asked quietly. Is that why your mother thinks I'm not good enough for you? His voice broke with disappointment. I know I'm not where I want to be yet, Nina, but I'm trying. Every single day, I'm trying. Nina quickly reached for his hand. I know you are. Chike looked at her with pleading eyes. Please, don't leave me. Don't let money come between us. Give me time, and I promise I'll become the man you've always believed I could be. Without hesitation, Nina squeezed his hands tightly. I'm not going anywhere, Chike. She smiled through her tears. I chose you because of your heart, not your pocket. And I still choose you. No amount of money can make me stop loving you. Relief washed over Chike's face. He pulled her into a warm embrace, holding her as though he was afraid to let go. For a while, they forgot about the world outside. They laughed, talked about their dreams, and held on to the hope that love would somehow overcome every obstacle. As evening approached, Nina quietly said goodbye and made her way home. When Nina pushed open the front door, exhausted from everything that had happened during the day, she took one step into the living room and stopped. Her eyes widened. Expensive gift boxes were neatly arranged on the floor. Food hampers filled one corner of the room, while several shopping bags bearing the names of luxury brands sat on the sofa. Beside them, bundles of cash rested on the center table. For a moment, she thought she had entered the wrong house. Mum, she called, her voice filled with confusion. What is all this? Rebecca walked out of the kitchen with a broad smile, as though she had been waiting for that question. Oh, you've finally seen them. She spread out her hands proudly. These are from your prospective husband. Nina's expression changed instantly. My what? Your prospective husband, Rebecca repeated. Chief Omego. A deep frown settled on Nina's face. Mum, I told you already. I'm not interested in him. Rebecca's smile faded. I think you should return everything to him. Nina continued calmly. I cannot accept gifts from a man I have no intention of marrying. The words had barely left her mouth when Rebecca sprang to her feet. Return them? She exclaimed. Have you lost your mind? She pointed at the gifts scattered around the room. Do you know how many people pray for an opportunity like this? A wealthy, respectable man comes into your life with good intentions, and all you can think about is sending him away. Mum, this isn't about money. It is exactly about money, Rebecca fired back. Do you want to remain in poverty all your life? Must you reject every blessing that comes your way because of Chaik? Nina took a slow breath. I did not ask him to buy these things, but he bought them because he cares about you, Rebecca replied sharply. The least you can do is appreciate his kindness. Nina remained silent. Rebecca folded her arms. Call him. Mum, I said call him. I don't think that is a good idea. Rebecca's voice grew firmer. Nina, I am still your mother. Pick up your phone and thank him. Realizing the argument would only get worse, Nina reluctantly reached for her phone. Rebecca quickly handed her Chief Omego's number. With a heavy sigh, Nina dialed. The phone rang twice before a cheerful voice answered. Nina, what a pleasant surprise. Good evening, Chief, she said politely. Hey, I just wanted to thank you for the gifts you brought to our house today. I appreciate your kindness. A warm laugh came from the other end. Hearing your voice is thanks enough. Nina forced a faint smile, though he could not see it. Thank you once again, sir. It is my pleasure, Chief Omego replied, and I hope this is only the beginning of many conversations between us. After exchanging a few polite words, Nina ended the call and quietly placed the phone on the table. Rebecca's face lit up with satisfaction. There, she said with a proud smile. That wasn't so difficult, was it? Nina said nothing. She simply looked at the gifts one more time before walking silently into her room. For the first time in her life, her own home no longer felt like the place where she belonged. That night, Nina lay on her bed staring at the ceiling. Sleep refused to come. Eventually, she picked up her phone and texted Chike, telling him everything. She told him about Chief Omego's visit, the expensive gifts scattered around their living room, the money he had given her mother, and how Rebecca had practically forced her to call and thank him. Her last message was simple. I'm tired, Chaik. I feel like nobody cares about what I actually want. At Chika's house, he read the messages repeatedly, but instead of replying immediately, he sat quietly on the edge of his bed. Expensive gifts, bundles of cash, a wealthy politician with businesses in oil and gas. Something began turning in Chika's mind. Several minutes later, Nina's phone vibrated. Babe, let's meet tomorrow. There's something important I want us to discuss. The following afternoon, Nina arrived at his place. After they had settled down, Chika suddenly became unusually serious. Nina, can I ask you something? Of course. He looked directly into her eyes. Do you truly love me? Nina frowned. Chaik, what kind of question is that? You know I love you. After everything happening with my mother, I'm still standing by you. I know. Just calm down and hear me out. Something about his tone made her uncomfortable. Chico leaned forward. What if you agreed to be with Chief Omego? Nina stared at him. What? Listen first. Cheek, what did you just say? He took her hands, but Nina slowly pulled them away. I'm saying, maybe we should stop fighting this opportunity. We? Yes, us. Think about it. Chief Omego is wealthy. He already likes you. Your mother supports him. Instead of pushing him away, you could accept him. Nina's face went blank. Accept him how? Date him. If it eventually means marrying him, then marry him. Nina stood up immediately. Have you lost your mind? Nina, please sit down. No. Explain to me why the man I have been fighting everybody for is asking me to marry another man. Chika stood too. Because I'm thinking about our future. Our future? Yes. Chief Omego can give you things I cannot give you right now. Money, property, investments, security. You could build something for yourself. Then, when the time is right. He paused. We can still have the life we always wanted. Nina stared at him as though she were looking at a complete stranger. So you want me to marry a man I don't love, collect his money and properties, and somehow come back to you? You're making it sound terrible. Because it is terrible. Nina, be realistic. Opportunities like this don't come twice. Imagine what we could do with that kind of money. We could start businesses, buy property, travel. We wouldn't have to struggle. Tears slowly filled Nina's eyes, and I would have to share my life with another man to make that happen. Chica fell silent. That silence answered more than words ever could. Nina shook her head slowly. Do you know the saddest part? I defended you. Nina, I told my mother that you were hard-working. I told her money didn't matter because I believed in you. I stood there and told her that one day God would lift you. Her voice cracked. And now you're asking me to sell the very love I was defending. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Cheek? He had no answer. Nina wiped her tears. For several seconds, she simply looked at him, as though trying to recognize the man she had loved. Then she picked up her handbag. Nina, please, don't leave like this. But she was already heading toward the door. Nina! She didn't turn back. The moment she stepped outside, the tears she had been fighting finally broke free. She walked away crying, heartbroken, not because Chique had stopped loving her, but because she was beginning to wonder if he had ever loved her the way she thought he did. By the time Nina reached home that evening, her eyes were swollen from crying. She wanted nothing more than to enter her room, lock the door, and forget the entire day. But as she approached the house, she found Rebecca standing by the doorway. Mum? Rebecca said nothing. The moment Nina reached the door, her mother suddenly dropped to her knees. Nina froze. Mummy, what are you doing? She rushed forward. Please stand up. What happened? Rebecca began to cry. No, Nina, let me stay here. Mummy, please. Rebecca held tightly to her daughter's hands. Nina, marry Chief Omego. Nina's heart sank. Not this again. Please listen to me, Rebecca cried. The man is 63 years old. How many more years does he have compared to you? You are only 22. You have your whole life ahead of you. Nina stared at her mother in disbelief. What are you saying? I'm saying, think about your future. Chief Omego has wealth, businesses, properties. If you become his wife, everything could eventually become yours. Mum, I am not wishing
talking as
him
if you're
death.
waiting for him
Everyone
to
will die someday. Rebecca wiped
I'm only
her
asking
tears
you
to think. She tightened her grip on Nina's hands. I have suffered, Nina. Since your father died, I have done everything alone. School fees, food, clothes, university, everything. There were days I had almost nothing, but I made sure you never felt it. Mum, I am tired. Her voice broke. I don't want to return to that life. I don't want to grow old counting every naira before I can eat. Please, my daughter, if everything I sacrificed for you ever meant anything, do this for me. Those words pierced Nina deeply. Mummy, please stand up. Promise me first. Nina closed her eyes. Only hours earlier, Chiku had practically encouraged her to do the same thing. Now her own mother was kneeling before her. It felt as though everyone had decided what her life should become, except her. Please stand up, Nina whispered. I've heard you. Rebecca slowly rose. Nina wiped the tears from her mother's cheeks, fighting back her own. I'll do it. Rebecca blinked. What? I'll accept Chief Omego's proposal." For a second, Rebecca simply stared at her. Then her entire expression changed. "Now you are talking like my daughter." She embraced Nina tightly. "Just marry him first. Give yourself a few years. Secure your future. If things don't work out, you can leave." Rebecca lowered her voice. "You don't even have to rush into having children. You can prevent it if you want. Just make him happy and secure yourself first." Nina immediately pulled away. "Mum, stop." Rebecca fell silent. "I agreed to marry him. I did not agree to deceive him or sit around waiting for him to die. I don't want Chief Omego dead." "But Nina—" "No." Her voice was quiet, but firm. "If I enter that marriage and discover I cannot live that life, I will leave. No amount of money will keep me somewhere I'm miserable." Rebecca nodded quickly. "Fine, no problem. Just marry him first. Everything else will sort itself out." She hugged her daughter again, already smiling through her tears. But Nina did not smile. She simply stood there in her mother's arms, staring into the distance. And just like that, at 22 years old, Nina agreed to marry a 63-year-old man she did not love. Not because her heart had changed, but because everyone she loved had somehow convinced her that her happiness was the least important thing in the world. The moment Chief Omego heard that Nina had finally agreed to marry him, he could hardly contain his excitement. Within weeks, everything was arranged. The wedding was grand, elegant, and filled with important guests. Rebecca smiled throughout the ceremony, like a woman whose greatest prayer had finally been answered. But beneath Nina's beautiful bridal makeup was a deeply unhappy young woman. After the wedding, Nina moved into Chief Omego's mansion. Nothing could have prepared her for the life waiting there. Drivers, cooks, cleaners, gardeners, security guards, and personal assistants were available around the clock. Nina barely needed to lift a finger. There seemed to be a member of staff for everything except breathing on her behalf. Yet Nina was not happy. The mansion was beautiful, but it didn't feel like home. Chief Omego noticed. One evening while they sat together after dinner, he turned to her. "Nina, tell me something." She looked up. "What would make you happy?" The question caught her off guard. "I don't understand." "You have barely smiled since you came here," he said. "So tell me what you want. Do you want to travel? I know this is not the life you want. Your education. Start something of your own." Nina hesitated. "I've always wanted to own a business." "What kind?" "A boutique. Something beautiful." Chief Omego smiled. "Then you shall have one." Nina smiled faintly. Within weeks, Chief Omego opened an enormous fashion boutique for her in one of the busiest parts of the city. He bought landed properties and registered them in her name. Then came cars, jewelry, expensive clothes, and gifts Nina had never imagined owning. She always thanked him. But Chief Omego could see what money couldn't buy. Her heart. He had spent most of his 63 years alone. Despite his wealth and influence, he had never married and had no children. For the first time, the enormous house felt less empty to him. But the woman who had brought life into it remained emotionally distant. One night, as they prepared for bed, Chief Omego noticed Nina sitting quietly beside him. "Nina." "Yes?" He took her hand. "I know." She frowned. "You know what? I know you didn't marry me because you loved me." Nina lowered her eyes. Chief Omego gave a small, painful smile. "I'm an old man, Nina. I'm not foolish." She looked at him, suddenly uncomfortable. "You don't have to explain anything," he continued. "I knew your heart wasn't mine when you came here." "Chief." "But I love you." Nina fell silent. I don't expect you to wake up tomorrow and suddenly feel what I feel, he said. All I ask is that you give me a chance. His voice softened. Perhaps one day when you look at me, you won't only see the older man you were persuaded to marry, maybe you'll see someone who genuinely loves you. Nina wanted to respond, but no words came. Chief Omego simply pulled her gently into his arms. Good night, Nina. Good night, she whispered. Soon, Nina closed her eyes, but Chief Omego remained awake beside her. For all the wealth he possessed, there was only one thing he desperately wanted and could not purchase: his wife's heart. Months passed, and one afternoon, Rebecca came to visit Nina. The moment she entered Chief Omego's mansion, she was delighted. Everything around her spoke of comfort and wealth, and Chief Omego had also been taking very good care of her financially. Later, Rebecca followed Nina into her bedroom and closed the door. Her expression suddenly changed. Nina, I brought something for you, she whispered. She reached into her handbag and brought out a small nylon containing a whitish substance. Nina frowned. What is that? Rebecca lowered her voice. Something that can help you break free. Nina looked confused. Break free from what? From Chief Omego. Rebecca leaned closer. You can use this against him quietly. With time, he will be gone, and everything he owns will become yours. Nina stared at her mother in shock. Mum, are you suggesting that I kill my husband? Rebecca tried to calm her. I'm only thinking about your future. Once he is gone, you can live the life you truly want and marry whoever you love. Nina immediately stood up. No, Mum, what has happened to you? I'm trying to help you. No, you are asking me to take someone's life because of money. Rebecca looked frustrated. Nina, you don't even love him. That doesn't mean he deserves to die, Nina replied. Chief Omego has never treated me badly. I may not love him, and I may decide to leave this marriage someday, but I will never harm him. She pushed the substance back toward her mother. Take this away, and please, never bring up anything like this again. Rebecca shook her head. Everything I do is for you. Nina looked at her sadly. No, Mum, this is no longer about me. This is about what you want. Rebecca was deeply offended. Without saying another word, she grabbed her bag and left. A few minutes later, her car drove away with her driver. Nina remained in the room, disturbed by everything that had just happened. Then her phone rang. Hello? Are you Nina? Yes. I'm calling from the hospital. Your mother was involved in a serious accident. Nina's heart raced. Where is she? Is she okay? There was a short silence. I'm sorry. She didn't survive. The phone slipped from Nina's hand. No, Mummy! She collapsed to the floor, crying uncontrollably. When Chief Omego returned home, he found her completely broken. My mother is gone, Nina cried as she fell into his arms. Chief Omego held her tightly. I'm here, he whispered. You don't have to face this alone. For the first time since their marriage, Nina did not pull away. She simply held on to him and cried. For days after Rebecca's burial, Nina was barely herself. She cried in the morning. She cried at night. Sometimes, Chief Omego would wake up and find her sitting silently beside the window, clutching an old photograph of her mother. He tried everything. Nina, please, eat something. I'm not hungry. At least have some water. I'm fine, Chief. But she wasn't fine. Nothing he said could reach the emptiness inside her. Then one morning, Nina made a decision. She packed her clothes into 2 suitcases and walked downstairs. Chief Omego was sitting in the living room when he saw her. His expression changed immediately. "Nina, where are you going?" She placed the suitcases beside her. "I'm leaving." Chief Omego slowly stood. "Leaving?" Nina struggled to control her emotions. "My mother is gone, Chief. She was the reason I entered this marriage in the first place. I kept telling myself I was doing it for her. Now she's gone, and I need to find myself again." Chief Omego stared at her. "So this is goodbye?" Nina lowered her eyes. "I'm sorry." She placed a large envelope on the table. "Every document for the properties you bought for me is there. The boutique papers, the land documents, the car documents, everything." Chief Omego frowned. "Why are you returning them?" "Because I don't want anything." "Nina, those things belong to you. I came into this house with nothing. That's how I want to leave." Chief Omego moved closer. "Please don't do this because you're grieving. Stay. Give yourself time." Nina shook her head. "If I stay, I'll never know whether I'm here because I chose you or because my mother chose this life for me." Those words silenced him. After a long moment, Chief Omego sighed. "If you truly want to leave, I won't stop you." Nina nodded tearfully. "But take everything I gave you." "I can't." "They were gifts, Nina. I didn't lend them to you." "Chief." "Please." But Nina picked up her suitcases. "Thank you for everything you've done for me. You've treated me better than I expected, but I have to go." She turned toward the door. Then her phone beeped. Nina stopped. She glanced at the screen. Her eyes widened. Credit alert. 200 million naira. She turned around sharply. "Chief!" He remained standing where she had left him. "What is this?" "A gift." 200 million naira? Why? Chief Omego looked at her quietly. "Because when I married you, I made myself a promise that whether you loved me or not, I would take care of you." Nina's eyes filled with tears. "But I'm leaving you." "I know. Then why would you still do this?" Chief Omego smiled sadly. "Because love doesn't become hatred simply because someone chooses to leave." That broke something inside her. Nina covered her mouth as tears streamed down her face. For a moment she wanted to drop the suitcases. She wanted to run into his arms. But her mind was made up. "I'm sorry," Nina whispered. Chief Omego nodded. "Go and find yourself." Nina turned and walked out. When she reached her mother's house, the silence nearly destroyed her. She opened the door and immediately remembered Rebecca dancing in that same living room with Chief Omego's money. "Mum," she whispered. No answer. Nina sank onto the sofa. "I wish you were here." The tears came again. She wished she could turn back time. She wished their final conversation had been different. She wished she could hear Rebecca's voice just once more. But wishes could not bring back the dead. And for several days, Nina remained inside that quiet house, crying for the mother she had loved and would never see again. 1 week later, Chief Omego sat alone in his living room, scrolling absent-mindedly through his phone. The mansion had returned to the silence he had known for most of his life. Then the doorbell rang. One of the domestic staff hurried to answer it. A few seconds later, Chief Omego looked toward the entrance and froze. Nina walked in. "Nina?" He immediately stood. She looked different, beautiful, confident, almost glowing. But what stunned him most was the smile on her face. "You're here," he whispered. Nina said nothing. She simply walked toward him. Chief Omego watched her, completely confused. "Nina, is everything—" Before he could finish, she wrapped her arms tightly around him. Chief Omego froze for a second before holding her against his chest. "Nina." She buried her face against him, fighting back tears. After a while, he gently pulled away. "What's going on? Are you all right?" Nina looked into his eyes. "I love you." Chief Omego stared at her. "What?" She laughed through her tears. "I said I love you." "Nina, don't say this because you're lonely or grieving." "I'm not." She took his hands. "Those days away from you made me understand something. I kept telling myself that I didn't love you because I never chose this marriage. But when I left, I didn't miss the mansion. I didn't miss the cars, the boutique, or the money." She paused. "I missed you." Chief Omego's eyes became wet. "I missed your voice. I missed having you beside me. I missed the way you cared for me without demanding anything in return. Nina, I finally realized that somewhere along the way, without even knowing it, I fell in love with you." Chief Omego pulled her into his arms again. This time, Nina held him just as tightly. Then she suddenly pulled back. "But you have to promise me something. Anything? You're not dying anytime soon." Chief Omego burst into laughter. "So that's your condition?" "I'm serious." He held her face gently. "I'm not planning to go anywhere. I intend to trouble you for many more years." Nina laughed. "Good." Then his expression softened. "And for however many years God gives me, I promise to love you." Nina rested her forehead against his. "Then there's something else." "What?" She smiled shyly. "I think this house has been quiet long enough." Chief Omego raised an eyebrow. Nina laughed. "I'm ready for us to have children." For a moment, Chief Omego couldn't speak. Then his face broke into the widest smile Nina had ever seen. He took her hand, and together they walked toward their bedroom. For the first time since their marriage, that enormous mansion no longer felt empty. Sometimes, the people we love can push us toward choices for the wrong reasons, only for life to teach us lessons we never expected. Money can provide comfort, but it cannot command the heart. And genuine love does not always arrive in the form we imagined. In the end, Nina returned to Chief Omego, not because of his wealth, but because for the first time, the choice was truly hers. But tell me, if you were Nina, would you have gone back to Chief Omego?